and go.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Congregation Brit Shalom services this morning. We're going to begin with our preliminary prayers on page 65, and Lynn Rosenberg Johnson is going to lead us through those prayers.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Olam, asher natan l'sachti bina, lehavchin ben yom u'ben layla. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani b'tzomo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shasani bat chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish sharumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokev kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rakahat samayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asali kol tzarki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamichin mitzadei kaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hanoten le'ohev koach. Melech haolam ha'avir shalom. U'tinenu hayom uv'chol yom, l'cheinu l'chesed u'rachamim, ba'einecha u'b'nei kol ro'enu, v'tigmalenu chasadim tovim, baruch atah Adonai, gomel chasadim tovim, le'amo Yisrael. Okay, I'm headed to page 66. Yehirat mefanecha, Eloheinu v'lehevotai. Continuing on towards the bottom. Aval anachnu yom nechapnei b'ritecha. Ashreinu ma tov helkeinu, u'manayim goraleinu ma yafa Yerushateinu. Ashreinu shanachnu mashkiim u'marivim, erev v'boker, v'yomrim pamayim b'chol yom, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Continuing on page 67. Kadesh et shimcha makdishe shemecha, vekadesh et shimcha ba'olamecha, uvishuatecha tarim v'chad bia karnenu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh et shimcha barabim. Please join me on page 72 for the Psalm for Shabbat. Hayom Yom Shabbat Kodesh, Shelo Hayu Halvim Omrim B'Beit HaMikdash, Mizmor Shir Le'Yom HaShabbat. And we continue silently to the bottom of the page. Odyenuvun b'seva, d'shenim bradim yihiyu, lehagid ki Adonai, suri v'lo al balta bo. Please join me on page 81. Mizmor shir Hanukkah tabayit leDavid. We continue silently. Fakta mispedi namacholi, pitachta sakivita azreni simcha, lehemanya zimirach kavod velo yidom, Adonai Elohai, leolamodecha. Mourners Kaddish, please unmute.
Gadol v'yiskadash shemei rabah.
Amen.
Amad yifrach v'yosei yamich malchusei. V'chayachon yomechon chayei dekol beis Yisrael. V'adala v'zman ka'imru amen.
Amen. Yehesh merabah mevarach v'amon me'amaya.
Yisbarach v'yishtabach v'yisach v'zman v'yisnaseh. Yisodar v'yisalel v'yisalel shem
Recho.
Elam kol v'yisal Shish b'chasar v'yechmata Amram yama
Amen.
Yishlam Shemaya Hallelujah Yisrael
Amen.
Shalom
Amen.
Please join me on page 83. Baruch Shemar V'Olam.
Baruch.
Baruch Oseh Bereshit.
Baruch
Baruch Oseh Umekayim. Baruch Merachem Haaretz. Baruch Merachem Haaretz. Baruch Meshalem Sachar Tov L'Reah. Baruch Ad V'Kayam L'Netzach. Baruch Matzil, Baruch Shemo. Continue silently, please. Yachid Hayolamim, Melech Meshubach, Uparadei Ad Shemo Hagadol, Baruch Ata Adonai, Melech Mevelo Batishbachot. And we continue on page 96 with the Ashrei. Oops. Ashrei Yoshvei Beitachod Yehelu Chasela, Ashrei Ham Shekachalo, Ashrei Ham Shadonai Elohav. Continuing through to 97. Tehillat Adonai Yedeber Pi, V'Barech V'Basar Shenkot Shel Olam Va'ed, V'Anachnu Nevarech Yatav Elam, Hallelujah. Please join me on page 100 for us, for Hallelujah. In the middle of the page. Hallelujah, 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 B'tzil Tzilei Shama, hallelujah, hallelujah, B'tzil Tzilei Trua, Kol Hanshema Tehallelujah, Kol Hanshema Tehallelujah, Kol Hanshema Tehallelujah, Hallelujah, Kol Hanshema Tehallelujah, Hallelujah. Please join me on page 102 for Az Yashir. Second paragraph. Ashashir Moshe Uvenei Yisrael Et Hashirat Hazot Ladonai Vayamru Lemor Ashira Ladonai Kigo Goa Suracho Rahamavayam Ozi Vizimrat Yahavayi Li Lishua Zeli Beyond Vehu Elohei Avivarom Manu Adonai Ishmilchama Adonai Shemo Markot Paro Vehelo Yarabayam Uvmichar Shalisha Tibu V'Yamsuf Tachamot Yechasumu Yardu Vimsalot Kamoaven. Please continue silently. One oh three. Adonai Yimloch Leolam Voed Adonai Yimloch Leolam Voed Ki Adonai Hamlacha Moshel Bagoyim Ve'alu Moshim B'char Tzion Lishpot Et Charesav V'hayata L'Adonai Hamelucha V'hayadonai L'Melech Al Kol Haaretz Bayom Hahui Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad. Please, page 104 for Nishmat. Nishmat Kol Chai Tivarech Et Shimcha Adonai Eloheinu Barak HaBasar Tiferu U'Tromim Zichrecha Malkeinu Tamim V'Yeholah Adonai Ta'el. Ilu Pinu Malay Shiraka. Continuing with page 105. Alin Avarim. Nehalelechon Shebechechon Parechechon Berech Shem Kodshacha Kahamor LeDavid Brachi Nafshi Et Adonai V'Kol Karavai Et Shem Kodsho Ha'el B'Ta'atzumot Yusecha Hagadol B'Kavod Shemecha HaKibor L'Netzach B'Ha'anora B'Norotecha HaMelech HaYoshev Al Kisei Amen Yishkoach.
Yeshkoach. We conclude the preliminary portions of our tefillot in the middle of page 105, and Nava Teller is going to lead us through the Shacharit.
Shochenat Maram Vekadosh Shema. Befi Yesharim Titalal, Udivrei Tzadikim Titbarach, Ubilshon Chasidim Tidramam, Ubekerev Kedoshim Titgadash, Umakalad Revevot Amcha Beit Yisrael. Shaken Chovat Kol Yetzurim Lefanecha Adonai Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avotenu Lehodot Le'aleh Leshabech Lefaer Leromem Leder Levarech Le'aleh Ulekalas על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות, דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו. ברכות ורעות מעתה ועד עולם, ברוך אתה אדוני, המלך גדול ותשבחות, אל ההודות, אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך אל חיי עולמים. יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה.
אמן.
ועמד יברכרתי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וימלכון ובחיי דרכו בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב יאמרו אמן.
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ועולם.
לעולם ומעולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקדושה. לילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך ראש עושה שלום בורא את הכל.
אור יברך ראשך עושה שלום ובורא את הכל.
הכל יודוך.
וכל ישבחוך. אין כרכך אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס בלתך גואלנו לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך מושיענו לתחיית המתים. אל אדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך, לפי כל נשמה גדלו וטובו, מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו. המיגל חיות הקודש ונדר בכבוד על המרכבה, זכות ומישור לפני כיסו, חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו. טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו, יצרם בדעת בבינה ובשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרת תבל. מלאים זיו ופיקים נוגה, נאה זיוום בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים בהם הרצון קודנם. פאר בכבוד נותנים לשמות, צהלה ורינה לזכר מלכותו, קרא לשמש ויזרח אור רעה והתקין צורת לבנה. שבח נותנים לו כל צבא מרום, תפארת וגדולה, שרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש. ליל אשר שבת מכל המעשים.
Page 110, Kedusha Liyotzer. Tiparach Tzureinu, Malkeinu V'Goalenu, Barei Kadoshim.
וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה וטהרה, בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ומשבחים ומעריצים, מעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא, קדוש הוא. וכולם מקבלים עליהם עול מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה, להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח, בשפה ברורה ונעימה, קדושה כולם, כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מנסים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו, מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות. אהבה רבה אותנו מהלכים. והערננו בתורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך ולא נבוש לעולם ועד ולא נבוש לעולם ועד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו כי אל פר ישועות אתה ובנו בחרת מכל המלשון וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם ושבתך בביתך ובלבתך בדרך ושובקך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והיה עם שמות השמונה. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי גדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית. וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אמת ויציב אנחנו לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים, וכיסו נכון ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת, ודבריו חיים קיימים נאמנים נחמדים. מלכנו מלך אבותינו, גואלנו גואל אבותינו, יוצרנו צור ישועתנו, פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך, עזרת אבותינו אתה הוא מעולם. Teila Lelion Baruchum Barach Moshe B'nai Israel Lechanu Shira V'simcha Rabba V'amru Chulam Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai Mi Kamocha Nedar B'Kodesh Nora Tehilot עוסק פלא, שיר החדשה, שיר גאולים לשמך, על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, צור ישראל, כמו בעזרת ישראל, ובדקנו מלכה, יהודה וישראל, גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Having established God's role as creator, as revealer, as redeemer, and establishing his credentials in our relationship with the people, with our people, we now turn to God in private prayer, page 115, with the Amidah. We invite you to complete your private davening. Our Shlichat Tzibor will lead us through the repetition of the Amidah, page 115b.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Anora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Koneh Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot, Umevi Goel Lifnei Bneihem, L'man Shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer Ufoked Umashiach Umagen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Ufoked Sarah. Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechayei Metim Atarav Leoshia. Mashiv Haruach Umrid Hagashem. Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berov Becholim Umatir Asurim Umkayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Umkayem Emunato Lishenei Afar Mi chamocha ba'al gevurot umidome lach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua elelai 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 V'ne'eman atah l'chayot metim, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayei hametim.
Hey, Nekadesh Nekabalam, Shmakti Shimoto, Bishme Moram, Turia Naviacha, Kwanzaa, Elza, Viamar.
Ba'olam, Keshem shemakti shimoto b'shmei marom, kakatuv aya nevi'echa, v'karazeh elzeh ve'amar.
Kadosh, Kadosh,
Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh, Adonai Tzevaot, Melech Haaretz Kevodo.
Haaretz kevodo.
As before, Rosh Hashanah, there was almost being comments in the Sorfin, the Tambor, the Meru.
As b'kol rash gadol, adir v'chazak mashmi'im kol, minasim l'umat serafim, le'umatam baruch yomeru.
Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimech Hamo.
Titgada v'titgadash, b'toch Yerushalayim, le'dor v'ador, le'netzach netzachim, v'einenu tirena malchutecha. Al Yedei David Mashiach Tzidkecha Imloch Adonai L'olam Elohai Zion Ledor Vador Hallelujah Ledor Vador Nagid Godlecha Ulenetzach Nesachim Kedushatcha Nakdish V'shivchach Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush L'olam va'ed Ki el melch gadol v'kadosh atah Baruch atah Adonai La'el HaKadosh.
Amen. 117.
Yismach Moshe b'matnat chelko ki even ne'eman karata lo Klil tiferet berosho natata v'yomda lefanecha al har Sinai U'shnei luchot avanim horid be'yado v'chatu bahem shemirat Shabbat v'chatu bahem shemirat Shabbat v'chen katu b'toratecha V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ולא נתתו אדוני אלוהינו לגויי הארצות, ולא הנחתו מלכנו לעבדי פסילים, וגם במנוחתו לישכנו ארילים, כי לישראל עמך נתתו באהבה, לזרע יעקב אשר בם בחרת. מקדשי שביעי כולם יספרו ויתגו מטובך, והשביעי רצית בו וקידשת, חמדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך ותן חלקנו בתורתך, סבנו מטובך ושמחנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, והנחילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך, ואנוכו בישראל מקדשי שמך. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל תפילתם, ושבט עבודה לדבר ביתך, ותפילתם בבת תקבל ברצון, ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ותחזינה עינינו ושובך לציון ברחמים, ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון. מודים אנחנו לך שאתה הטוב כי לא חל רחמך, והמרחם כי לא תמו חסידך, מעולם קיווינו לך. ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד, וכל החיים יודוך סלע, והללו את שמך באמת. האל ישועתנו בעזרתנו סלע, ברוך אתה אדוני הטוב שמך ולך נאה להודות. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, ברכנו בברכה משולשת, בתורה הכתובה על ידי משה עבדך, האמורה מפי אהרון ובניו כהנים, עם קדושתך כאמור. יברכך אדוני וישמרך, יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך, יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. שים שלום, שים שלום טובה וברכה בעולם. שים שלום טובה וברכה. חן וחסד ורחמים עלינו ועל כל ישראל עמך, ברכנו אבינו כולנו כאחד באור פניך. שים שלום טובה וברכה בעולם. שים שלום טובה וברכה. כי באור פניך נתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו, תורת חיים ואהבה חסד וצדקה וברכה ורחמים וחיים ושלום. Sim
Sim.
Sim
Sim.
Sim Shalom Sim Shalom Tova Uracha Ba'olam Sim 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 Shalom Tova Uracha V'tov b'necha levarech et am echad amcha Yisrael B'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך Baruch atah Adonai המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום.
Amen.
The exclamation point on the end of the Shacharit Amidah, Kaddish Shalem, page 138.
Yashkoch.
יתגדל ויקרא שמי רבה
Amen.
יעמד יברכרתה וימליך מלכותה וחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו
Amen. Yehesh
Baruch v'shabach v'yitbar v'yitman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitala v'yitalal shemei kedusha Ve'ela mikol berchata v'shirata tishbachata v'nechamata damiram ve'alma ve'imeru
Amen.
Yavel slotonu ba'oton dechol Yisrael kadam abuhun d'bishmaya ve'imeru
Amen.
Yehesh lama rabba mishamaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru
Another exclamation point, another excitement, a moment, an exciting moment in which we say Yishar Kochachech to Nava and beautiful davening this morning. We're going to continue page 139, the coronation of God, as we begin Ein Kamocha. Ein Kamocha Elohim Adonai v'en kimasecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimlot li'olam boer Adonai oz li'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom al harachayim hetiv avyitzoncha etzion Tivne chomot Yerushalayim Tivne chomot Yerushalayim Tivekol levad bataknu Melech Aram v'nisa Adon Olamim. Page 140. Bebe anarakit velishme kadisha kadisha yakira anamar tushbekan Be'anarachit, be'anarachit, ve'lishme kadisha, kadisha yakira, anamar tushbechan, yehera kodamach, Detiv takli bibi oraita bitashli mishalin delibi belibadi cholamach Yisrael bitabu lechayin beli Islam. Amen.
Torah service begins. We have our readers at the ready. V'yazor, v'yagen v'yoshel chosim bo v'namar amen hakol. Havagod Eloheinu nukav Torah. Yamdu kulanu. Baruch shenatan Torah l'mo Yisrael b'kedushato. V'atem madbekim Adonai Elohechem chayim kolchem hayom. Friends, our Torah reading begins on page 279. We'll begin on verse 28, the last verse of chapter 45, almost into chapter 46. And the reason I think that we start there is because it sets up, that sentence at the end of the paragraph sets up, at the end of the chapter, sets up the next our reading for this morning. My son Joseph is still alive, says Jacob. I must go and see him before I die. And so that's gonna set up our Torah reading, the content of our Torah reading, as we see Jacob and his sons going to reunite with Joseph in Egypt. And so let's say our Birkot Torah, we'll say Lasok b'divrei Torah, to be engaged in Torah study. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu
בדברי תורה.
So friends, we begin with Miriam on verse 28, page 279.
Vayomer Yisrael Rab Od Yosef B'ni Chai El Chaver Enu B'terem Amut. Vayisa Yisrael B'chol Asher Lo Vayavo Be'ras Shava Vayizbach Zbachim Lelohei Aviv Yitzchak. Vayomer Elohim LiYisrael B'marot Halayla. Vayomer Yaakov Yaakov. Vayomer Hineni. Vayomer Anochi Ha'el Elohei Avicha. Al tira merda Mitzrayma ki legoy gadol asimcha sham. Anochi ered imecha Mitzrayma vanochi alcha gam alo vayosef yashit yado alenecha.
Beautiful. And so as Jacob sets out on the next part of his journey, he has another interaction with God, and God gives him the assurance that things are going to be okay. And with that, he sets out. We continue at the second Aliyah, verse 5.
Vayakam Yaakov miber Shava vayisu bnei Yisrael et Yaakov avihem v'tapam v'nashehem b'galot asher shalach paro leset oto vayikchu et miknehem v'et rechusham asher rachshu be'eretz Canaan vayavo Mitzrayma Yaakov v'chol zar'o ito banav ubnei banav ito Bnotav ubnot banav v'chol zar'o hevito Mitzrayma.
And we get a look at who's coming with him. And so these are the people the Torah pauses to just take a roll call to see who's here. Third Aliyah.
Be'ele shemot b'nei Yisrael uba'im Mitzrayma Yaakov ubanav bechor Yaakov Reuven ubnei Reuven Chanoch uPalu v'Chetzron v'Charmi ubnei Shimon Yemuel ve'Amin ve'Ohad ve'Achin ve'Tzochar ve'Shaul ben HaKnanit ubnei Levi Gershon Kahat Merari.
We continue on verse 12. Dr. Actor.
Bnei Yehuda Erev V'Shelav V'Peretz V'Zarah V'Yamater V'Yonan Peretz Canaan V'Yu Bnei Peretz Chetzron V'Chamuhu Bnei Yisachar Tela Ufava V'Yom Shimron Bnei Zebulun Sever Yom V'Yachael Ele Bnei Leah Asher Yada Yaakov V'Fadan Aram V'Tina V'Tzav Kol Nefesh V'Nahav ולתת 30 ושלוש.
Yesher koach. Sometimes we're quick to point out in the Torah that the names of women and the acknowledgement of women are missing. So why don't we just take a moment and say Yesher koach to the Torah for adding the Vanav, Uvnotav, and Dina here when they're taking roll call. We continue with verse 16. Phyllis.
ובני גד, ציפיון והגיש, שני ועצבון, ערי וערודי וערלי, בני אשר עינו וישבה, וישבי ובריאה ושרחותם, ובני בריאה חבר ומלכיאל, אלה בני זלפה, אשר נתן לבן ולאה ביתו, ותלד את אלה ליעקב 16 נפש.
And Nancy continues on verse 19.
בני רחל אשת יעקב, יוסף ובנימין, ויוולד יוסף בארץ מצרים, אשר ילדה לו אסנת, בת פוטיפר הכהן, את מנשה ואת אפרים, ובני בנימין בהלה ובכר ואשבהל, גרה ונעמן אחי וראש, מופים וחופים וארד. אלה בני רחל, אשר יולד ליעקב, כל נפש 14.
And we continue on with the children of Dan, although I will point out, it's interesting to note some of the names that have survived from the Torah and some of the names that have not survived from the Torah. Right, generations have passed and we still see some of the names. Osnat is a name that's popular in Israel for women. Bela is, I'm not sure if the Bela that we know about in Yiddish comes from here, but it's certainly here. And then I'm still waiting for twins to be born named Pupim and Mupim. There's a Mupim and Pupim over here. So if anybody has any grandkids coming up, just let them know. Verse 20, we continue. 23.
It's 23. ובני דן חושים, ובני נפתלי, יחצאל וגוני, ויצר ושילם. אלה בני בלהה, אשר נתן לבן לרחל ביתו, ותלד את אלה ליעקב, כל נפש 7. כל נפש 7. כל הנפש הבאה ליעקב, מצרימה יוצאי יריחו, מלבן נשי בני יעקב, כל נפש 66. ובני יוסף אשר יולד לו במצרים, נפש 2. כל הנפש לבית יעקב, הבאה מצרים 70.
Yeah, sure. They also saw the name Guni in there, and Guni is also a name that comes up. Eliezer, right? Does that come up in Israel sometimes? Unmute for a second. Tell us about the name Guni and Bella.
There was Guni Arnik, who unfortunately died in the Lebanon War. This is the one that I remember immediately.
Yeah, it's popular. It became a book. He became a popular character. Allah Hashalom, Guni. And then, so that comes from the Torah here. So Yasher Koach to all of our readers and for all of us who received this Aliyah this morning and engaged in Torah study. Misha Berach Abraham Yaakov Saref Leah. את כל הקרואים ואת כל הבעלי קריאה, אשר עלו הם וקראו היום לכבוד המקום לכבוד התורה ולכבוד השבת. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור אותם ואת משפחותם, ישלח ברכה ושמחה בכל מעשי ידיהם, יקרא רחמיהם ונאמר amen. Friends, make it Mishaberach for the Cholim, for those, I don't even know how many, hundreds, tens of thousands of people in need of healing. And we connect around the globe with those in need of healing from the pandemic. And we also connect into our home and families and our relatives and friends in need of healing, in need of healing of body, in need of healing of spirit. Mishaberach Otin Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Prachav Leah Vivarech Virapeh et Kol HaCholim.
Or Miriam Bat Shmuel Ruth.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimele Rachim Alehem Lachzikam Barakotam Shalchem Raf Rosh Min Hashamayim Refuat HaNefesh Ufrat HaGuf Toshachel Mo Yisrael Shabbatim Yilzok Ufrat Provalavo Ashtat Bagala Uvizman Kari Venamar Amen. Isheberach Avotenu Mikor HaBeracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu Mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabah be'alma dibra kirute be'amlich malchute b'chayefan v'mochan v'chayachol beit Yisrael Bagala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen.
Amen. Yehesh. Malach la'amam v'la'amaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar b'terman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitala v'yitalal shmei nekudesha
Recho.
Amin kol b'yirachak shirata Tushbachata v'nechamata damiran me'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Amen.
One day when we say a Shabbat for the Cholim, we'll be doing it just for people in our lives and not for the globe. And may we get there someday soon. Friends, we continue now with our Haftarah reading. Mitch, tell us where we're at and what we're doing.
Page 291 in Eitz Chaim.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hanemorim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah Moshe abdo Yisrael amo v'nviei haemet hatzedek. Vayidbar Adonai Eli lemor, v'ata ben Adam, kach lecha eitz echad, u'tov alav lihuda, livnei Yisrael chaveirav, u'lekach eitz echad, u'tov alav liyosef eitz Ephraim, v'chol beit Yisrael chaveirav. Paravotam echad el echad, l'chal eitz echad, v'hayu la'achadim b'yadecha, v'asher yomaru elecha, b'nei amacha lemor, halo tagid lanu ma'ele lach, daber alehem. Amar Adonai Elohim, Hine ani lokea et Yosef asher biad Ephraim, Shivtei Yisrael chapeirav, natati otam alav et Judah, asitim le'etz echad, Vahayu echad biyadi, Vahayu haitzim, asher tiftov alehem, biyadacha le'enehem, v'daber alehem, v'amar Adonai Elohim, hine ani lokeach et bnei Yisrael, v'bein hagoyim, asher halachu sham, V'kibatzti otam misaviv, v'hereti otam el admatam, v'asiti otam logoy echad ba'aretz b'harei Yisrael, u'melech echad, yeh lechulam lemelech, lo yiyu od lishnei goyim, V'lo yechatzu od lishtei mamlachot od. V'lo yitameu od v'gilu lehem uv'shikutzehem uv'chol pishehem v'hoshati otam mikol moshevotehem asher chata'u bahem v'tiharti otam v'hayuli la'am v'ani eyeh lahem le'elohim. Avdi David melech alehem ro'eh echad yeh lechulam Umishpatai yelechu, uchukotai yishmeru, va'asu otam, va'yashavu al ha'aretz, asher natati la'avdi li'Yaakov, asher yashuva avotechem, va'yashavu aleha, Ema, Uvenehem, Adolam, V'David Avdi, Nasi Lahem Leolam, V'charti Lahem Berit Shalom, Berit Olam, Yeh Otam, Unatatim V'hir Beiti Otam, V'natati et Mikdashi, V'tocham leolam, v'haya mishkani alehem, v'hayiti lahem le'elohim, v'hema yuli le'am, v'yada'u hagoyim, ki ani Adonai, v'kadesh et Yisrael, v'yot mikdashi, v'tocham le'olam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol ha'olamim, tzadik b'chol hadorot, v'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'yoseh, hamdaber m'kayem, shekol dvorav emet v'tzedek. Ne'eman atahu Adonai Eloheinu, v'ne'emanim dvarecha, v'davar echad mivarecha, achor lo yeshuv rekam, il melech ne'eman rachaman atah, Baruch atah Adonai, v'yal ne'eman v'chol dvarav. Rachem al Tzion ki beit chayenu, v'lalu bat nefesh tushia b'mhero b'yameinu. Baruch atah Adonai, v'samech Tzion b'vaneha. Samcheinu Adonai Eloheinu b'el yad v'yavdecha, v'malchut beit David m'shichecha, במהרה יבוא ויקל ליבנו, על כיסו לא ישב זר, ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו, כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו, שלא יבנרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן דוד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הניב ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בכיפך חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
יש כוח.
Amen. Yeshur koach, Yeshur koach. You doing all right, Mitch? How are things? Check in.
Yep, good.
Yeah, you're home, safe, Yeshur koach?
Yes, thank
Good.
you.
We continue, we close out our Torah service. Ken Levine will lead us in Eitz Chaim.
Eitz Chaim hi lama kadikim ba v'tomcheha meyushar diracheha darkinoam b'chol netivotea shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuv acharesh yameinu tikedem.
Cousin David, are you up for Musaf? Ya la la li la 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 la. Yeah, I'll let you warm up for a second. La 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 la. Yeah, la 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 la. Yeah, la la la. Yeah, la la la. Yeah, la la li la 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 la. Yeah, la 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 la. Ya na 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 ya na na na. We continue with Chatzi Kaddish, page 155.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, וילמד דברי קירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וביומכון ובחי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, יתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה. בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן.
Yamidah, page 156b.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים, אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחלקי לחיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברופאי חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמנת לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
אמן. אריסך ונקישך כסוצי אסף הקודש, המקדישים שמך בקודש, הכתוב ליד נביאך וכרזל זה ויאמר.
נעריצך ונקדישך כסוד צילך שרפי קודש.
המקדישים
שמך בקודש, הכתוב על יד וכרזל זה ויאמר.
קדוש קדוש קדוש
קדוש קדוש
ארץ כבודו. כבודו מעלה עולם, משרתיו שומעת כבודו לעומתם ברוך כבוד Eloheinu Malkeinu Yashmi'einu Kamav עוד לכם לאלוהים ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור דור הללויה לדור ודור נגיד גודלך ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך שמו
האל הקדוש
אמן.
All right, friends, if you're davening, please feel free to continue.
Ose shalom bimromav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'yimeru amen. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra kirotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yamechon v'chay l'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv, yimeru
Amen.
Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach, le'al me'al maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yithromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei dekudesha. Brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran me'alma v'yimeru
Amen.
Yikabal shlo yoton uvayoton dechol Yisrael, kodam uvohondi v'shmaya v'yimeru
Amen.
Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru
Amen.
Ose shalom bimromav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru
Amen.
Yeah, sure. How are you, Florida? Florida's good.
Florida's great. Florida's beautiful. It's lovely.
The weather?
A little chilly, maybe, I don't know, 50s. I'd say low 50s.
Gotcha. Similar to here, I suppose. We're 60s here. All right, Yasher Koach. Say hi to Mom.
I will. Nice to see you.
See you. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And so today is a very special day because we celebrate our morning minyan. And our morning minyan is a place of tefillah, a place of kedusha, a place of prayer, a place of holiness, a place of chevra, right? A place of fellowship, and a place of commitment and discipline. And so it's an amazing opportunity to every year honor a minyaner of the year. And so our morning minyan goes into secret committee, and Al Winters comes out with the answer of who is our minyaner of the year. And so the minyaner of the year is chosen, almost, under some secret holiness, and it bubbles up each year, and Ellen conjures up who is the right person for the right moment. And this year, Jerry Wald has been selected as our minyaner of the year. He has been, well, I'll let him talk about his connection to the minyan, but we are just so appreciative of his personal commitment that allows other people both to pray and daven, but also connect to those that have left the world and to say Kaddish. So thank you, Jerry, and Vakasha. Unmute there.
Myself. Thank you, Rabbi Teller. So much easier when you're unmuted. It's amazing. But all of you read lips, I know that, so we'll just go from here. But anyway, so I want to thank Bris Shalom for the honor. However, I don't see myself as really a deserving honoree of this compared to the recent recipients of this honor. I don't lead services. I don't read Torah. I don't assign daily tasks. I didn't regularly attend at first, and I'm still often quite late. There are lots of jokes about that in the minyan and elsewhere perhaps as well. It so happens I'm human like the rest of us, and I had to ask myself, Why me? What have I done to deserve this honor? And I want to point out, we will be referring at some point, if you happen to have a copy of the daily prayer book, we'll be making some references to that. So if you have that nearby, that'd be good as well. So I'm going to offer about 6 different themes today in partial explanation of why me. And by the way, this is going to involve, this presentation will involve some congregate participation. So be prepared to do that. So theme number 1, who wants to be a millionaire? Theme 2, that may sound familiar to you, and there's a relationship between those in your mind, okay? Number 2, when does the morning minion pray? 3, what am I grateful for? 4, how did I get here? Or what was my Jewish journey? 5, what are my top 10, maybe a little bit more, favorite morning prayers? And then finally, how does the morning minion observe the mitzvah of tzedakah? And to conclude, I'll review the highlights, provide some enticing, slightly virtual food for thought, and ask an important question of you all. But first, as a fellow human being, I invite all of you to join me in the morning minion. There are lots of ways to participate, or just to be present with other people. That's a very important thing. I will describe more of those below. See if you can remember 3 of them. There'll be a quiz later. So who wants to be a millionaire? Well, there are 3 questions to ponder. Number 1, why do it? And so organizational psychology research found there are about 3 main reasons that people participate in groups. One is achievement, another is affiliation, and a third is acknowledgement. And I'll describe that a little bit more. Achievement, to accomplish a goal. Affiliation, to connect with a group of like-minded folks or gain a sense of belonging. And third, acknowledgement, to know you're appreciated for who you are as a person. So what's your reason? What might be your reason? What's your why? Second question to ponder. What's in it for me as an individual? Rabbi Teller suggests the morning minion, as you've heard already, presents opportunities for spiritual growth, socialization, and building the Bris Shalom community. Also important. Imagine how you might engage in any or all of those. Take a moment to think about that. And third, how will I know when I'm accepted into the minion? That's something a lot of us have a question about. It sometimes seems off-putting to be part of this minion of, serious daveners, do this every morning. They must be kind of weird and strange. They're not. They're like you and me, also weird and strange. No, I didn't say anyway. So how will you know you'll be accepted? Well, when you experience one or more of the 3 reasons I mentioned already, the affiliation, the achievement, the acknowledgement, or perhaps it'll come as an aha moment for you. All right, so this is very important, everybody, take out your mental pen and pencil, write this down. When does the morning minion pray? Important question. Well, via Zoom, we pray from 9 to 9:45 a.m., Sunday through Friday. Selected holidays, a little longer. You can find the link and the password for the Boker Tov in the Boker Tov emails, the password for being part of the minion. We actually have a secret word. You may or may not be able to guess it by the end of this devar. Keep thinking. All right, but in chapel, maybe we get back to that when it's safe. We have been davening from 7 to 7:45 a.m. And on Wednesdays, we're followed by a bagel and lox plus breakfast with a brief devar and often very lively discussion. Highly entertaining as well, especially if Andy's there. So I want to tell you who I'm grateful for. And several of those people I'm grateful for are actually on this Zoom, and some of them are hopefully listening via the live stream, via YouTube. All right, so I consider that I stand on the shoulders of, and I'm grateful for, at least 28 millionaires. This is a community of daveners who became my friends and allies, and some of them who I already knew became closer friends. All right, So I'm going to say their names. You may know them, and we'll see what happens. What the Guzumbai did. Okay, so Natalie Kravitz, Russ Weidman, Stan Novi, Brian Keaton, Eliezer Mendelson, Sue Resnick, Alan Winters, Andy Hoffman, Connie Carger, Steve Conaway, Helen Lassart, Ron Gelbart, Steve Goldstein, Ron Moses, Scott Chanin, Jeff and Lori and Jonas Actor, that's a 3P, right? Stephen Rubin, Bob Ullman, Henry Susan, Morris Naronsky, Rosalind and Joseph Markman, Larry Luckham, Eric Littman, and blessed memory, Fred Sklar and David Wolford. Inspiring us all are Rabbi Ronan Tiller, Kendra Mark Levine, and I don't want to leave out Chazan Kron, though I'd like him to come to Minyan every now and then, just saying. So, and let me take a pause here and thank all of those who find comfort in saying the Mourner's Kaddish with us, the out-of-town visitors, the guests, Shalech Sibur, Reem, the Torah readers, the staff who helped complete a minyan when we were shy of full complement in chapel, the Baal Tekiah during Elul, the Guzumbayim. Thank you all. All right. So you might be wondering, well, how did he get here? Or what was your Jewish journey? It turns out that my paternal grandfather, his name was David Weissenfeld, and turns out some relatives of mine found out that we go back, the common grandfather was 5 generations back. His name was also David. He was a Talmud scholar in Poland before he emigrated to the United States in 1907. His wife, Bela, and 4 children came in 1914. My father, Ben, was the product of that reunion. My maternal grandmother, Tilly, Shannon, was brought to US from Austria-Hungary when she was 3. My mother, Gladys's parents, kept kosher, which is kind of how that worked with the Talmud scholar family, part of the family. It turns out my parents lived near each other, and I think met because of that. There's a story about my mother watching my father walk in front of her home, thinking she was paying attention to him. It turns out that his mother lived on one side of my mother and his sister lived on another side of my mother. So that was why there was a lot of walking back and forth. But anyway, so that added to the story. And so my parents got married at the end of World War II, where my father was a soldier who volunteered for that. I was their 3rd child and the only native Texan. Woo-hoo. All right. I was raised modern Orthodox at Adathemeth, which became United Orthodox Synagogues. We went 5 of 7 days a week in the synagogue, in Hebrew school or Sunday school or services. I was absent from public school for all the major holidays. And I became active in what was at United Orthodox, the National Conference of Synagogue Youth, NCSY, and youth services. I got bar mitzvah there, I got confirmed there, and I worked 2 years after that as an AV aide in the Sunday school, a deal I cut with my dad to keep me in synagogue. I saw examples of my maternal grandmother, Tilly Shannon, my mother Gladys, my father Ben, all of blessed memory, and older brothers David and Bob Wald, who volunteered there and served as leaders there and other congregations. I learned in my childhood Jewish values of justice and fairness, treating the stranger like one of us, repairing the world, and the practice of study, which led me to a liberal and then progressive social and economic and political activism as an adult. I became, during the Vietnam War, a conscientious objector, and I did alternative civilian service as a VISTA volunteer at the national level, community organizer, and also community organizer. And that led to a 25-year career plus in public health, social services, and social services. So I escaped what I thought was a rigid religion for 10 years when I went to college and after. It turns out that rigidity was just my father's way of being Jewish. So I learned another way. I connected as a young adult with a residential bayit, an outreach group supported by Hamag Shimim. Initially, these are people who had gone to Israel, which I hadn't done yet. Initially, we held Shabbat evening services and ate dinner together where we competed for who could bring the best ice cream and give it a name that nobody wanted to eat. And then we sang Zmirot. Later, we added holiday observances and life cycle events, and we became what we called the Houston Chavarah for about 20 years, a little bit more than that. We were loosely affiliated with the University Hillel and participated actively in high holiday services and Purim parties, very important Purim parties. Some misbehavior there. I won't go into that. We had lots of fun as Jews, all right? And that changed my view of Judaism for good, also forever. You know, that sounds like wicked. It's right. It was for good, all right? All right. Then I joined Bris Shalom in around 1984. Unfortunately, my memory is a little weak on that one, when Rabbi Shaul Osaji, who had been the Hillel director, was named rabbi. I served as a social justice chair under Presidents Leonard Goldstein and Joyce Gilbert, possibly even Sam Axelrod. Again, memory escapes me a little bit for that. And Ellis Rushevsky, may he be healthy as possible, enrolled me as a member. It was an important moment. I became involved also about that time with Reconstructionist Judaism and a Reconstruction study group with former spouse Sandra Kaplan and with Paula Eisenstein Baker, both of them members of the congregation. That led us to become the Houston Reconstructionist Chavarah, which led us to become Kol Halev, that lasted for about 35 years. And I was a co-founder, I served on the board and as president. I left Bris Shalom after congregation voted not to rehire Osaji. I was away for about 20 years, though my daughter Hannah, who had been named there, also attended religious school and was bat mitzvah there. I returned to CBS about 4 years ago in 2016, when Kol Halev closed after 35 years. I decided to attend morning minyan to crack what I would consider to be the hardest nut in the synagogue, the most traditional congregants. If I could establish relationships there, I could do that with any other Bris Shalom member. And that was a good choice for me. I knew I was accepted, here's the word affiliation, in the minyan when I got permission to include prayer for our country into the morning service with Alan Winter's blessing, I might add. I offered to blow shofar during Elul for the minyan during my first year, and my leadership skills were acknowledged. Here's another part, remember the three, when Alan Winters asked me to organize other Baal Tekiyah for the last 2 years. I also designed and analyzed a CBS congregant survey, which you may have seen on minyan interest, strangely enough, via the weekly Madrich newsletter, that was an accomplishment or an achievement of combining my professional survey research skills with service to Bris Shalom. All right, so I know you've been all waiting for this, which is my top 10 prayers. Well, actually, it's pages, and there's more like 13, okay? Just hang on. The first part, as you may know, a lot of what we do here is what we do in Shabbat. It's Birchat HaShachar, okay? So, for those of you who are following this in the prayer book, prayer 4, page 4, it's the prayer for the body. You can see that. Life would not be okay if our bodies did not work well, all right? We know that, all right? And I've had, unfortunately, some health concerns over the last several years, and fortunately, I have healed from most of them or am taking medication to handle the rest. Anyway, so, all right, so there's that one. And then on page 6, we have the prayer for daily renewal, in which we ask to give sight to the blind, to clothe the naked, to release the bound, to raise the downtrodden, to restore the vigor to the weary, and all those others which are quite important. And we go to another favorite prayer of mine, page 11. The world rests on 3 principles: on justice, on truth, and on peace. And all 3 are intertwined. When justice is done, truth is served, and peace ensues. And that's from the Yerushalmi Ta'anit 4.2. Next section is Pesukei de Zimra, not my favorite part. All right, and so we'll move on to Shachrit Amida, page 36. All right, you support the falling, heal the ailing, free the fettered. Page 38, You grant us knowledge, wisdom, and discernment. Page 38. Send complete healing to body and soul too, and you can put in the name of someone, including yourself, which is what I've been doing, soul to myself, along with all others who are stricken, and strengthen those who tend them. That's also important to them, who tend to them. We've been very grateful about that during this pandemic. Page 39, sound the great shofar to herald our freedom, raise high the banner to gather all exiles. Page 40, hear our voice, have compassion on us, we ask, we pray for. Page 43, grant universal peace with happiness and blessing, grace, love, mercy for us, and I add, for all people. Page 44, this is the hard part. Keeping my tongue from evil, my lips from lies, help us avoid heartlessness. May I merit kindness and compassion and love from all who know me. That's a part of the personal meditation. Then on Mondays and Thursdays and some holidays, we do Torah service, just for the reminder of what we're doing. And then page 75, prayer for our country. If anyone would like to read that, that'd be great. If not, well, just, you get to look at it on the page. It has some amazing things about justice and freedom, the things we value as being U.S. citizens here and people who reside in the United States, and justice, and also not making any more war anymore. That's what we pray for with our country. So then we move on from there to the concluding prayers. Only a couple more here, folks. Page 81. May God open our hearts to Torah, inspiring us to love, revere, and wholeheartedly to serve God. Thus shall we not labor in vain, nor shall our children be confused or suffer confusion. And, okay, the pièce resistance to all this happens to be the Rosh Chodesh prayer, which we're not going to read, but please read it every month. It's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous prayer. References virtually every animal that exists and all the things that we think about. So I encourage you to look at that one. It's really gorgeous. There might be some suggestions from the other daveners. I don't know if we're open for that or not, but they probably have their own. Let me assure you, you'll find your own favorite prayers or phrases or meditations. All this and more in less than 45 minutes. What a deal. All right, so for the next section, how does the morning minyan observe the mitzvah of tzedakah? Well, when we daven in a chapel, minyaneers often put a monetary contribution into a special covered wooden tzedakah bowl after completing the silent Amidah, some earlier, some later. The contributions are tallied by the minyan leader and distributed semi-annually to various religious and charitable organizations. But given the pandemic, we've not met in chapel for the most of the year. So today, I'm pledging to make a donation to the Morning Minyan Tzedakah Fund. The equivalent of 9 months of donations I normally gave in the chapel. I encourage all of you to pledge a similar amount to that fund, and you may make that pledge by contacting the Bris Shalom office. In conclusion, which I know you've all been waiting for, who wants to be a millionaire? Well, you, and you, and you, and those on the other page I can't see right now. All right, a lot of folks that you know. Most people attend morning minyan when there's a yard site to observe or a mitzvah to celebrate, once or twice a year. Since morning minyan was restored to Zoom format after COVID-19 began, we've had at least 10 people attending each day, sometimes as many as 20. In chapel, sometimes we couldn't get more than 8. As I mentioned before, morning minyan offers a lot of opportunities to participate or just to be present with others. So here's my enticing virtual food for thought. I want you all to meditate on this for a moment, filling in the blank at the end of the sentence. I want to participate in the morning minyan because. All right. Okay, now you know why you want to participate. So here's my ask. Who will commit today to attending Morning Minyan? And I'll offer you some options. You can let us know by either raising your hand so we can see it this way, or you can go to the positive reactions, the reactions at the bottom of the page. If you have that kind of part of where your Zoom, I'm not sure where your reactions are for Zoom, whether you're on phone or not. And you can and you can do it at the again, that's at the bottom of the page. So here are your options. All right. You could do it once a quarter. That's 4 times a year only. All right, only 4. So all those who want to do that, you can either raise your hand or put your reaction of like a thumbs up or a yes or a clap or something like that. All right, all right. A little bit bigger commitment here. 12 times a year, once a month. Again, show by how you're going to do this. All right. All right, here's the big ask. Once a week, 52 times a year. All right, think about that. You can do that. All right, 52 times a year. Or if you're like me, you'll go more often, several times a week. All right. So let me know by either hand or the thumbs up or the clapping or whatever. All right. Because we're recording this and I'll get back in touch with you. That's what my organizing training taught me. You don't just ask people a question, you go back and ask them again. Oh, by the way, do you remember what you said? So, all right. So now, all right, here's the promise quiz for the people. All right, this is only for the people who are currently not millionaires. So all of you I know are going to do that in the next, year. But anyway, so here's a quiz question number 1. When does the morning minyan pray? And here's a hint. There are 2 correct answers. All right, think about that. All right. Anyone want to raise their hand and say, I know the answer? Not a millionaire, someone else. I don't know if I can see you. All right. Is anyone answering? All right, I don't see that. Okay, I'll go back. All right, so just a reminder, via Zoom, 9 to 9:45, Sunday through Friday. Select holidays a little longer. All right, and then when we get back to chapel, when it's safe, 7 to 7:45, perhaps, or who knows, we'll figure that one out. On Wednesdays, with bagel and lox and more, with a brief devar, which is fun. Okay, and now for extra credit. All right, for those who want extra credit, question number 2, what are the 3 ways you can participate in morning minyan? All right, be thinking about that. All right, actually, I want to say thanks for listening, for learning, for thinking, and being playful with me. I hope my presentation will move you to action, and I deeply appreciate this honor. This accomplishment would not have been possible without the support of my beloved Anne Rosenwinkel. Shabbat Shalom.
Yashikov.
If we have time, I'll take questions or comments or appreciations, or if you have any, or I can be reached at jwald@prodigy.com. Excuse me, prodigy.net. That was wrong. How I've never made that mistake before. Anyway, prodigy.net, jwald@prodigy.net. I'm particularly interested in finding out what you found useful in my presentation. Again, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Jerry.
Yasher Koach, Jerry.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach, congratulations. Shabbat Shalom.
Well deserved.
Thank you.
Since the process, let's give Russ.
Very well deserved.
Russ, would you,
Shabbat Shalom. Congratulations,
Yasher
Jerry.
Koach, congratulations.
Yasher Koach.
Congratulations.
Yasher Koach.
Well deserved. Well deserved.
Very inspirational speech. Very inspirational.
I've heard you speak, Jerry.
Presentation.
I've heard you speak, Jerry, many times, and I think this was one of the best that you have done. It shows how committed you are to the morning mitzvah, and I congratulate you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry.
Jerry.
And maybe Russ, can we give Russ just a final shout out and we'll continue in a minute. Yeah, Russ.
Russ.
Yeah.
I'd like to congratulate Jerry and thank you, and hope that people have listened to his words and taken them to heart, and hope to see you at the Minyan. One secret about the Minyan is that if it weren't for the Psalm of the day, every day would be Blur's Day. So very many advantages to coming to the Minyan, some that are obvious and some that are hidden. Thank you again, Jerry, and Mazel Tov. You deserve it very much.
I have my friend. I see my friends Jimmy Goldfarb and Janice there from Israel, and I see folks from Beth Yeshurun and elsewhere, and Rosalie Weisfeld, a political ally, and Craig Ottinger, a member of one of the presidents of Kol Halev, the Houston Havara, and Sarah Norris. I have to say, about 10% of the people on this call were part of the Reconstruction Havara. I just want to say that. So we've got some, the good grounding in here, and Susan and all. So it's great. And Debbie Kerner, another political friend of mine. And gosh, it's just, boy, this is really wonderful to do that. And of course, folks from the Shofar Blowing group. So that's all great. And so thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Friends, we continue with En Keloheinu, Ken Levine, 182.
In Keloheinu, in Kadonenu, in Kimakenu, in Kimoshienu, Michelohenu, Michadonenu, Michimakenu, Mikemoshienu, Nodel Elohenu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Makenu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Elohenu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Makenu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Makenu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shekiro Avotenu, Lifanecha Ketoret Hasamim, Alay, la, 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 ya, la, la, ya, la, la, ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 ya, la, la, ya, la, la, ya, la, 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 ya, la, 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 la. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, atik gidula liotzer brishid, shelo asanu ki goyei arator, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ממקנו בזולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום והשיבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים יאמר, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני
Friends, we commemorate the following Yorzites: Lucille Avrutin, Julius Brody, Erwin Kaplan, Bessie Chaika, Judith Cohen, Molly Flans, Gertrude Friedman, Rosalie Gingus, Abe Ginsberg, Manuel Goldberg, Francis Goldstein, Robert Hadaway, Francis Kamenetz, Herbert Kamenetz, Steve Bluestein Kimball, Maurice Krupp, Leon Leibowitz, Sophie Leeson, James Levine, Nissim Levy, Joyce Lilly, Sarah Tater Mass, Rose Weiss Oberman, Dvara Pollack, Joe Resnick, Rose Rosen, Max Roche, Barbara Goodstein Rubin, Nathan Rashevsky, Irving Samuels, Earl Schwartz, Annette Skoll, Reeves Spielman, Herman Sternberg, Daniel Title, and Otto Ullman. Mourner Scottish, page 184.
Yitgadal v'yikadash shemeshvar.
Amen.
Amad Tibrak Mirakulim Likmalate. V'chayachon Echon Erechol Beit Yisrael. Hagala Isman Mariv Yimru. Amen.
Amen. Yeheshmer Adam Barak Alam.
Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'tabar v'traman v'yitnaseh. V'tadar v'talev v'tala shemer v'kudisha.
Rehu.
Ela yishkol v'chata v'shirata. Tush v'chata v'nechamata. Damiran v'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Amen.
Yehesh Shalom Rabam Shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'chol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh Shalom v'romav. Uyaseh Shalom. Aleinu v'chol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And one who makes peace above brings peace and comfort to us below. Together we say Amen.
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 Celebrating some anniversaries today. Laura and Daniel Tolpin are on the line, and Marta and Sergio Capusta. And so Mazal Tov on your anniversaries. And allow me to offer you a prayer. I see Daniel and Laura there. Are the Capustas here? Yes, they are. They're both here. Beautiful. All right. So the Capustas are celebrating 43 years of marriage. Mazal Tov, and Laura and Daniel are celebrating 18 years. Hi. And so Mazal Tov to you. May God, who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, the Tolpins and the Capustas who are celebrating the anniversary this morning. May you be blessed with many more years of happiness and love together. May you be blessed by the love of your families and the love of this community, so that we always live in joy and gladness and peace and companionship. Together we say Amen.
Amen. Amen. Mazel tov.
Capusta, would you unmute for a second and just say a word, a reflection about this moment? 43 years.
You want to unmute?
Yeah, unmute if you can. Capustas, yes. Mazal Tov.
Yeah, thank you. I think that the first 40 were the most challenging. Now it's easy.
Now it's easy. I'm so happy for you. And the Tolpins, Mazal Tov, you could unmute for a moment.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Mazel Tov. That's a big accomplishment, and we're proud of you and your family.
Thank you. Compared to 43 years,
Right.
it's a drop in the bucket.
Right. You know, everyone has their own, simcha moment.
Right.
That's right.
Exactly.
Mazel Tov. We also celebrating birthdays today. Shayna Portman, Elaine Heller, Jerry Wald, Mazel Tov, my birthday as well. Charlotte Axelrad is here. Charlotte, we love you, and thinking about you. Sergio Capusta, Mazel Tov on a double simcha. Susan Goodman Wagoner, thank you for being here. I got a shout out from Jerry before, and Phyllis Kaufman. It's nice to see you, and Mazel Tov. We want to recognize all the Kol Halev folks who are here in support of Jerry, and just we are so grateful at Bris Shalom for the partnership that we have with the She'erit Yisrael, the remnants of Kol Halev, and we are grateful for their participation and recognize their deep and meaningful impact on our shul. So thank you for being here. All right, Rhoda, Shabbat Shalom.
Jerry Mazel Tov, congratulations on a well-deserved recognition, and thank you. Thank you for helping provide a morning minyan. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of the morning minyoneers who make it possible for people to say Kaddish and so I thank you for that. And as Jerry reminded everyone, you can take part in the morning minyan at 9 a.m. Sunday through Friday. All the information is in the Boker Tov. Rabbi Teller, Cantor Levine, Chazan and Residence Crone, thank you. All of our daveners, our readers, thank you for making our service so special. And of course, thank you to our Gazumbai, Mike Drobe, who makes this possible. Abdallah will be at 6:30 on Facebook Live. The rabbi will be joined by Ariella Teller and Nava Teller, so look forward to that. Tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock, Cantor Levine's class on anti-Semitism will continue. And on Tuesday, we have a very special Zoom at noon. Chazan and Residence Crown will have a conversation with Cantor Mayor Finkelstein. I think that will be really interesting. And there's some other things in the Boker Tov for you to look at. I wish you all a healthier and much better 2021 with my Shabbat prayer that we will soon be able to pray together. Shabbat Shalom, Shavua Tov.
Shabbat Tov. Dr. Rector, any quick medical updates?
Yes. First of all, Jerry, congratulations. Mazel Tov, Millionaire of the Year. Woohoo, raise it up, raise it up. I've been trying to think of a way that we could perhaps just tie this back to this week's Parsha. And I was thinking names. We read the names of Joseph and all of his descendants that started out and went to Egypt. So I think just like we remember those names, let's all take a moment and remember the names of some of the people who were lost in 2020 due to COVID. I know there are names who have touched my life, and I'm sure there are for you. Now, as for a report, it's a mixed bag. If you look in Houston, numbers are rising. We're in a post-Thanksgiving Day surge. Patients in hospitals are going up, infectivity rates going up. I'm not sure that bodes well for the post, if you will, holiday season, Christmas surge that we're going to expect in a couple of weeks. So please stay safe. There is some good news. The good news is the vaccine's here. Yay. There are 2 vaccines that people are receiving. And we all actually know people now who probably received the first dose of the vaccine. And even better news is there's a 3rd vaccine in addition to Pfizer's and Moderna's. AstraZeneca showed really good results, and they'll probably move into the United States, at least the process for approval, probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, if I had to give a guess. There's some other concerns out there, but I just want to say to everybody, we're no longer at a time where I'm going to ask you to practice safety. We're past the practice point, guys. Let's do safety so that we can bring in 2001 with hope, with joy, and hopefully move forward. With that, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Good Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
Well said.
Cantor Levine, Adon Olam.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Toyetir Nira Le'Nazar Kol Azai Shimoni Gravi Akare Kiklot HaKol Levado Imloch Nara Vehu Haya Vehu Ova Vehu Yeh Betifara Vehu Echad V'Yem Sheni Lehamshielo Leachmira Beli Reshit Beli Tachli V'Lo Ha'oz Ve'Ham misra v'hu eli v'chai goali v'tzorcha bli b'yetzara v'hu nisi umanosi minad kosi b'yom ekra b'yado akid ruchi B'yetishan b'yaira b'imrochi geviati Adonai li v'lo ira. Okay. Abyssal Kiddush. Here we go. Vishamro Yisrael Shabbat Lasoret HaShabbat Lidorotam Beritolam Vishamro B'nei Yisrael Et HaShabbat Lasoret HaShabbat Lidorotam Beritolam Beni uven b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam oti le'olam oti le'olam v'shamro b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat lasoret HaShabbat לדורותם ברית עולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לאסור את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לאסור את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו סברי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Also, I want to add my sense of Mazal Tov to Jerry. Congratulations. And we're going to conclude with sending a blessing to everybody here. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Yehi Ratzon.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichonecha.
Yehi Ratzon.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom.
Yehi Ratzon.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos to everybody. And
Shabbat Shalom.
Jerry,
Shabbat
again,
Shalom.
a hearty Mazel Tov and Yasher Koach on a very well-deserved honor.
Mazal Tov,
Shabbat
Jerry.
Shalom.
Mazel Tov
Good to see
again.
everybody.
Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov.
And it's really good to see you, Earl.
Garfinkel.
Thank you. Thank you.
Goodman.
How are you feeling, Earl?
I'm coming along. Give me another month or so. I'll be right as rain.
Great. Good news.
Thanks for asking.
Right. Right as rain. As rain?
Okay, you look good, Earl.
Right as rain. That's
Right as
it.
rain.
It is very good to see you. It's been a while, Earl. This is Suzanne.
I know.
It's been a long time.
Divine providence, just dumb, stupid luck that they found it.
Thank God.
Somebody likes me. That's all. Yeah. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Good to
Shabbat
see you.
shalom.
To one of your
Bye-bye
kids
now.
one of these days.
Happy birthday, Elaine.
Oh, thank you.
Is Elaine here? Happy birthday.
Yes.
Thank you, Joyce.
Happy birthday, Jerry.
Muzzle tough to the anniversary couples.
Thank you. Toda rabba.
Everyone just be well and be happy. And hopefully 2021 will be a much, much better year.
Yeah.
Hopefully by this time next year we'll be in person.
Can we just like leapfrog past the first 6 months of 2020?
Lynn, you did a great job.
Thanks. But really,
Well,
can we just
everyone.
leapfrog into like June or July of next year, just getting past all this? I mean, who's got the time machine?
I'm with you.
Don't age us any
I'm
more
with
than
you
we are
too.
already are.
I think there's a Zoom feature.
Well, Nava, we just kind of fast forwarded through all of Jake's senior year then. That's probably not fair.
You gotta weigh your, yeah.
You're so clever.
Connie,
He's a second.
Yes.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
How good to
Shabbat
see you all.
shalom. Shabbat shalom.
And Mazel Tov on the birthdays and anniversaries. Wishing you